Hello and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Val.
And we are coming to you live this Labor Day morning. I know, it's crazy.
Yay!
And
We
we
haven't
are...
done a live show in a while.
Yeah, it's been... I think the last one we did may have been our 100th episode.
Probably.
Yeah. So it's been a few months.
Yeah.
And then I think before that it was Snyderverse. And then it's been a long time in between.
I like when we go live. I like when we go live. It's one of my faves. And because we're live today, if you guys notice, I am back in my office. But what I had to do is like in the labyrinth when they have to burrow their way through the old lady's house to get, that's what I had to do. This all looks nice. Everything in front of me is just piles of crap. Nerdy things.
You went to film school, and all that matters is what's in front of the camera. Anything
That's
else
right.
doesn't matter.
That's right.
I just wanted to give you the visual of me like burrowing under my desk and coming up and being like,
yes.
I'm never getting out. This is where I live now. This is where I live now.
You've summed up the life of every Instagram influencer out there. Like, this looks all great behind me and wonderful and fantastic, but in front of me, it's a mess.
So Dave's just gonna like occasionally throw you a sandwich or something.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm gonna be like Iron Man 3. Where's my sandwich? Where is it? I'm still waiting in here for my sandwich. It's also week 3 of me doing the show right after I get done at the gym, so
you look gorgeous.
We even changed the day, and she's still doing it right after she went to the gym. That's dedication right there.
I have to go to the gym.
She has to get out her aggression so she doesn't take it out on us.
I go to the gym so I don't hurt people. I also go to the gym so that I can be in shape and not die. And I also go to the gym because I don't want to be fat at my wedding. Like, there's 3 really, really good reasons for me to go to the gym. But number 1 is not hurting others.
I mean, even one of those reasons is a really valid reason to go to the gym. So it's great. You've got 3 really good reasons. So,
by the way, I love that you changed the picture on our Facebook page to the FanX picture where Tracy's looking at me like, what did you just say? And you're like, your hands are up in the air. And I've got my blonde mullet going on that I don't know why none of you guys called me out on this hairstyle and said, Val, this may not be your best.
I have no room to criticize anybody on their hair at any time.
It's in the moment. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, my friend's making a bad choice. Should I say something?
Yes.
Or be extra supportive?
You should always be like, Val, you're meeting Tom Holland today and you have a mullet. Maybe you need to shake that out.
There were worse things that one of us did in that picture than your blonde mullet. So I would take a blonde mullet over what happened in that picture any day. So
Speaking of FanX, it's coming up.
Yeah, well, that's why I changed the picture. It wasn't just an accident.
No, it's a great picture because there's a lot. There's a big story. Like you can you can tell your own story in that pic. We've got some great pics of all of us together.
Yeah, and I'm excited to get some more at FanX because we are going to be there, and like each of us have like 5 or 6 panels. It's insane. We are all over the place at FanX. Like, really, if you come to FanX and you want to see us and you don't, I really feel like that's on you.
It's spoiling my plans of hiding in the green room to avoid COVID, but we'll mask up and venture out.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they are requiring masks though. That made me very happy.
I did post that. That made me happy as well. That they took a stance on it. And I'm excited because I'm just going to go. The Disney store is going out of business, like we said. So if you're into that, you can go check out. I still haven't gone there. One, because I'm trying to save money for my dog and my wedding. And I feel like if I enter the Disney store at clearance, this room that's already stacked up to my eyeballs and nerdy stuff that I need to sort through will just be worse. I told Dave, I said, I'm going to go to the Disney store, and he just looked at, he didn't say anything because he knows better.
Yeah.
But he just was like I could see in his eyes, like, do you really need to?
Do you need like a financial advisor assistant to come with and like keep a tally to? Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Colin, what's up, fam?
What's going on, Colin?
Oh, look, it's Colin.
That's such a great picture.
Colin, I feel like I haven't seen you in years.
I know.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I've been Colin forever.
Yeah, it's and that's one of the great things about FanX. I know the current situation that we're in. I get all of that, and I am glad that we're doing masks and there's going to be a lot of people, but I also feel like I need this to get back together with these members of my tribe and see how everybody's doing, and it will be good. I hope.
Yeah, and I'm excited because we are going to, I don't know if you've talked to Colin about it yet, but we are going to be doing we always do a big podcast there where we get like 20 people on for a round table, and hopefully Colin will be able to be there with us as we talk about, can we tell, we've already said it, right?
Yeah, it's announced for our last episode of the month.
Yeah,
so we're talking about Back to the Future. So Back to the Future. This is a great month. Like I'm always excited about our episodes, but this month I'm like, man, we're doing Karate Kid today. We've got Princess Bride next week, and then Back to the Future at FanX, and we're talking about Black Widow at FanX. Like,
would you say that this is really good September to remember?
I would say that. I would say that. And I love things that have double meanings because it is a September that we'll never forget, hopefully. But it's also a September for us to remember different movies from the 80s. See how it's a double meaning there?
That's how we work. We subtext, layer, we're
like, I like how you say we. I had nothing to do with this amazing moment. Either. I'm riding the coattails of Jake's fantastic ideas.
That's why he's the CEO.
I get one a year, and then I just kind of throw it out there and just hope we could roll with it.
You saved it up for the perfect moment. So, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you have Karate Kid going on in the background?
I do have Karate Kid playing in the background, but I'm hoping that it's just like enough of a sliver and there's no sound, so we're not going to get into any kind of copyright trouble. I doubt we will.
I'm like, that looked like Machio, but I wasn't quite sure because I only saw part of his face. But
yeah, so, but yeah, we are talking about the Karate Kid, which was so much fun to go back and revisit and talk about, and to think about. I always wanted to do karate as a kid, and I think that this movie was a big reason why I wanted to get into that. And when I did it for like a few months, I think my parents got me for my birthday one year some karate lessons, and like a lot of things growing up in my family, we would do it for like a season or a few months, and then it was like, well, we don't really have the funds right now to keep doing it, so I got to experience a lot of different things.
It was a little taste, a little taster.
Yeah, but I do. I mean, the one move that I still remember always practicing was the crane kick from Karate Kid. I think everybody tried that.
But I think it also was really good at bringing like the headbands.
To
both men and women, to tie the headbands around, and then the guys were also wearing the cutoff shirts as much as the girls. It was like this movie. It was this movie and the breakdancing movie that came out around
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, Electric Boogaloo, where it was the headbands and the half shirts for both men and women, and I was like, this is a good time in fashion. I'm 7 years old and I dig it. This is great.
I approve this wardrobe.
This is a great time in fashion. It's true. I mean, if there's one thing I look back on the 80s and think this was a great time in fashion.
It keeps coming back though. That ugliness keeps popping up. We think it's gone, and here it is. And it just
I think my favorite thing about 80s fashion that keeps coming back is like now when you see a lot of these Gen Zers, is that what we're calling them? Gen Zs? I don't know.
Sure.
That'll come back and be like, oh yeah, this was from the 80s. And I'm like, no, that was the 90s.
Yeah, that was the 90s.
Getting the two mixed up, and I'm like, you're so close, but so far away.
The 90s are back right now. My daughter's wearing all of the clothes that I wore in high school, like right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could have really just given you everything I had, but I got rid of that last year finally.
Well, because it wasn't in fashion last year.
No,
I kind of wear whatever I want whenever I want. So
true.
Wait to see my wedding.
I'm excited for that.
I am so excited to see the pictures of both
it's
you
gonna
and
be
Dave.
It's gonna be a circus. I have given everybody in the wedding party just to do whatever that you want.
Yeah.
As long as you don't wear hot pink, I'm fine with it. Unless it's a flamingo, and then you're fine.
There you
All
go.
right. So hot pink is fine if it's a flamingo. That's good to know.
Other than that, no pink allowed in the line. Yeah.
Well, because sometimes you go to a wedding and they're very specific on what you can wear.
Yeah.
And they like almost pick out your wardrobe for you. So I like the fact that Val is allowing some freedom here. This is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of is a monster that happened on its own, and I'm just letting it happen.
Hey.
But yeah, there's no rhyme or reason right now to what anybody is wearing to my wedding.
I love it.
It's
perfect.
There are some fanny packs though, because we have flower humans instead of flower girls.
Okay.
And they're grown men and they have fanny packs full of flowers.
That is awesome.
So yeah.
Well done.
Are you going to be videographing all of this?
I am. Hopefully it will be live streamed.
Oh wow.
For people who want to see it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I won't be able to make the trip to Hawaii, so I would love if that were happening.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a little later for you guys. It'll be like 9:00 at night.
I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm staying up.
Tracy and I can stay up that late. Val, we're allowed. You're the one that can't stay up that late.
You guys, it's 9:00. I've got a show in the morning. I got to go to bed. I'm already up past my bedtime.
I can't get over the fact that it looks like I have another shirt under my shirts.
Yeah.
Use sunscreen, kids. Use sunscreen. That's awful.
Val's wearing one of those new stylish tank top dickies.
Tank top dickies from the 80s. Bringing back the dickie.
Bringing it back.
And that needs to come back for sure. I mean, we just don't have enough turtlenecks or mock turtlenecks in our life.
Oh, Colin has a present for you, but not for us. That's fun.
Fine, Colin. I was going to give you your art that you won at Utah Remote Con, but
I know
I'm not so sure.
I know you have my phone number, Colin. That would be a great private text message to send me instead of something to the whole group. But thank you. I'm excited to see the gift when we see each other next. So
all right, should we get into Karate Kid and how he gets his feelings how he gets his feelings hurt the whole movie?
we definitely should. Yeah. I don't know. I watched this movie a lot as a kid growing up. I don't know about you guys. I feel like it's one of those that I think if you grew up in a certain time frame, everybody watched it a lot. So
yeah, it was like at least every week for me. Our parents were one of those people that recorded it from the TV onto the VHS, and so like I would just play it over and over
from the TV. Please, you went to the video store just like the rest of us and hooked up 2 VCRs and recorded.
No, we
my
only
family
had
wasn't
one.
that fancy.
We didn't have.
Really?
Yeah,
we had one VCR in the house.
We would do that all the time. We would go. To
no, we would either rent it. Yeah, we would either rent it or my mom would wait until it was like on TV. And if we were lucky and it was on HBO or Showtime, then she would do it from there. But if it was on TV, then we only got like a certain amount of the movie. So then when I would see it years later, I was like, well, this is like when I saw Grease for the first time without the edits and I saw a guy's butt, I was like, where's this butt been? Like I was traumatized.
Where's this butt been?
Traumatized. Nobody told me about the butt.
Listen, I don't want to disappoint you, Steph, our friend from Cutscenes and Cupcakes, but no, we are not talking about the Jaden Smith version.
No, sorry.
Unfortunately.
I have not seen that one.
It's okay. You don't need to.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I would agree. It's not one that you have to go out and see. Like, I remember seeing it when it came out because I was such a big fan of the original Karate Kid. And I'm like, I like sometimes when they reboot these things and try to modernize them. And it wasn't offensive or horrible, or it didn't ruin my childhood, but it wasn't like a great addition to the film series either.
It was forgettable.
I've heard it was just kind of a remake.
Yeah.
We're probably really upsetting Steph now. We're kind of
I don't think so, Because sometimes Steph just pokes into
Poke. She pokes into poke.
Yeah.
She's a poker.
I mean, if we were talking about Star Wars, she'd probably come in and put some kind of Star Trek quote in there or something along those lines, just because she knows that I can't just leave it alone. So
no, I like that because I like to poke every once in a while too. I posted the other day that the Green Lantern isn't the worst superhero movie I ever seen, just because I wanted to see what the nerds would say.
Yeah.
And what is the worst superhero movie you've ever seen?
I've got a list. There isn't just one. There is a plethora. We'll talk about that a different time.
All right.
So when you posted that, it was shortly after the embargo was lifted for Shang-Chi. And my first thought was, is this her initial reaction to Shang-Chi?
No.
And I'm like, maybe I won't go see it. And it was not.
No.
But it scared me for a minute.
No, I gave Shang-Chi a B+, and I will be sending you my review that has some spoilers in it for Stolen Droids, and you can post whatever you want about it, but I wanted to give it a minute. I have some really strong feelings about Shang-Chi. And if you have a chance, you still have a day that counts in the holiday weekend to go add to those box office numbers. And I would really tell you, please go support. I was saying it wrong. Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi. Like Sean. Shang-Chi.
Okay.
B+ for me.
Yeah. And I saw that later that you said you gave it a B+, and I was very relieved because at first I was like, wait, is she saying show? Because I had heard like everybody else was giving it really positive reviews, and so I was nervous that
Val? No, I actually, because Dave has never seen the Green Lantern, and it was right there on Netflix. And I was like, everybody says this movie is awful, but I really don't think it's the worst. So let's watch it. We didn't make it all the way through because I fell asleep, and that's what happens. But it isn't the worst.
No,
it's not.
There are worse superhero movies. I think the sad thing for Ryan Reynolds is he's been part of two of them that I would put in the worst category between the Green Lantern and X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I think is just not a great movie. So to his credit, he has really redeemed himself with Deadpool and the popularity that's garnered. So just great for him.
So now I have a question about the scene that's going on behind you, Jake, with the Karate Kids. So they're playing soccer.
Yeah.
And they have the cheerleaders out there. I didn't attend soccer games when I was in high school, but I'm guessing the cheerleaders weren't out there. Is that like a Southern California thing, or?
I thought the whole soccer thing must be a Southern California thing.
But the way they're dressed, it looks like a scrimmage game, and it looks like the cheerleaders are just out there kind of practicing. Yeah. They don't really have uniforms on.
That's true. That's
their
true.
Shirts and skins right there.
Now, I gotta say, I don't know about you, Jake, but I had a tremendous crush on Miss Elizabeth Shue after this movie.
I don't think you could be like a heterosexual male growing up in the 80s and not have some kind of crush on Elizabeth Shue, because
I had a crush on Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah.
And then she was in Cocktail, and I was like, I'm questioning myself right now.
I mean, Adventures in Babysitting, for example.
Yeah.
Like, watch that. Yeah. And like, what kid didn't have? Anyway,
Elizabeth
Shue as a babysitter was like every boy's fantasy, I think, at a certain age. So
Leah Thompson and Elizabeth Shue, those were my two.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anyway,
love one thing I love about Karate Kid is that, and I'm gonna really, you guys know how great my memory is lately, but I'm just gonna go with Sensei. What's his name?
Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi. I'm done with names right now. Mr. Miyagi does not have a lot of lines, a lot of dialogue in the movie, and he doesn't need it because his body language, his face, the way he emotes energy and takes time with everything that he does. He takes time with his movement. He takes time with what he has to say when he says it, that you're listening. It's almost like that rule when you're a teacher in a classroom. If you whisper instead of yell, probably they're going to listen a little bit more. And I loved it so much as a kid because as a kid, you constantly get people trying to tell you what to do all the time. And they're super firm and you got to do this and you got to follow the rules. And he just was kind of like, you know what? These are the things that you can do that are going to help you out. and I'm going to go over here and do this. You got to do that, but I'm going to go over here. It's just, it was a really, I still think it's awesome. When I watched it again, I just thought he gives so much time. He puts so much time in between what's happening that it leaves you room to feel what's going on instead of just like fast-paced stuff. Because there's a lot of fast-paced stuff in the movie when you get to other scenes, that I really like it when he's there. It's this calmness that makes you feel so comfortable.
Yep. This is the kind of thing that Steph brings to a live viewing audience that we miss when we're not live. Adventures in Babysitting was a whole lot of sexual awakening for me. Well, thank you, Steph. That's
amen, Steph.
Yeah. I think
take
that
back what you said about Thor.
Yeah. It's the first
Vincent D'Onofrio, man.
Yep.
Yeah. It's the on-screen a first appearance for Thor in a major motion picture. So yeah, I love Mr. Miyagi's teaching style in this movie a lot. And I love the way that Ralph Macchio, like Daniel, he's reacting to it the whole time, because he is so frustrated, because he's like, I want to learn how to hit, I want to learn how to punch, I want to learn something, and instead I'm out here waxing the floor, I'm out here painting the fence. And we all remember the wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off, and paint the fence, and doing all that. And he's so frustrated until Mr. Miyagi, and like he gets to that point where he's just yelling at him, like, you're not, when are you going to teach me anything? And then Mr. Miyagi tells him to start going through those actions, and he realizes he's been learning that muscle memory. And it's just such a great way to teach. But at the same time, while he's learning those actions, he's also learning a little bit of responsibility. He's settling in. Like Mr. Miyagi coming along at the time that he did, I mean, Daniel could have gone on a very different track, coming to a new place, getting beat up by bullies, not really having any friends, than he went on if Mr. Miyagi hadn't come into his life to fix the faucet and then teach him karate.
Yeah, I think the patience was also something that he taught him, which helped him later on in his fights, because when you go to the scene like you just saw behind you, where you've got the big karate class and everybody's in there being loud and following like robots, and just fight, and he teaches him patience, where later on in the movie, where he's really hurt and he could just give up, he gets into that patience, into that thing inside of himself, and he doesn't rush it. He just remembers what he learns, and then he does what he needs to do, which I think is good for everyone to learn. Like I've had a lot of moments in the past year, 3 years, 22 years, I don't know, recently and a long time ago, where you have those moments of passion where you're frustrated and you just kind of run into either the conversation or the situation or whatever before you sit back and think about it, and you kind of ruin it, and then you got to fix it. Right. And so I think a lot of what you learn from this movie is that it's not as bad as you think it is. We all have like bad situations, but it's not as bad as you think it is. And there are tools that help you through everything. You just have to have the right tools. And for him, it was that confidence that he needed, the right mind, state of mind. And of course, like the physical aspects of, learning karate. And those things together were great. And I think it was great because when I was younger, I learned how to dance from MTV. So I thought, okay, well, I'm learning how to dance over here from MTV, and I'm 6 years old. So I can watch Karate Kid and put on my mom got us all like the karate pajamas, right? You put them on, and you put the little thing around your head, and you're in there and you're doing the crane kick and the hiya and the wax on, and you think that you're learning it. And I think that's great about this movie, is it made us all feel like you don't have to be in this big studio.
Right.
You can still, you're not going to win at anything just teaching yourself at home by watching Karate Kid, by the way. But like it's accessible if you want it to be, because I think a lot of us kids didn't, like you said, Jake, like, yeah, you can take it for a while, but now, we can't afford it. That's a lot of how kids grow up.
Yeah.
So we live through these movies. These are the movies that make us, you know, who we are. And this is one of the biggest ones from my childhood.
Yeah. Yep. And I like too how they deal with bullying in this movie, because it's very different than how we approach it today. I mean, I love the moment where, he's saying, Mr. Miyagi's telling him, well, why don't you go tell like an adult or a teacher or something? And he's like, no way, I can't do that. Hey, but why don't you go talk to somebody? He's like, no, and like Mr. Miyagi realizes, no, that would be even worse. Like they would never leave you alone if I came in and said something. And like, but it was a lot of, this is how you can stand up for yourself and stand up to the bullies and, make a difference in your, fighting your own battles. And I feel like sometimes that gets lost a little bit nowadays, unfortunately. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not advocating for like go out and pick a fight with the bully that's giving you a hard time, or I'm not advocating for like, and I think bullying has changed and evolved as we have as a culture and a society. And I'm not advocating for like, hey, you shouldn't turn in somebody who's cyberbullying somebody else to the point that they're, suicidal. That obviously needs to be addressed. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be, but I think that there's a certain amount of learning how to stand up for yourself and fight your own battles that sometimes gets lost today. And again, please understand, I am not saying that you shouldn't report bullying when you see it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, like, you definitely should, but you should also, I don't know. I like how he
crane kick.
Yeah,
exactly. You got to have that in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Well, like when he's laying on the table and he's hurt his leg, and Mr. Miyagi's like, no, you put up a good fight. You came further than people thought you were going to come. Like, you can give up now because you're hurt. And he's like, no, they're always going to know that they got the best of me, and I can't leave it like that. And there's just something about, like, in life, it reminds me of the speech that Rocky gives his son in Rocky Balboa. Like, you've just got to learn how to keep going and let life and the people in your life that are trying to hold you back know that they didn't get the best of you, that you still got up, you still fought, and you still kept going. And I think that that's a great message.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to give some props to Marty Cove, because like, I think he doesn't get enough recognition for kind of being the character that he is in this movie, because I think we all kind of knew someone like him growing up, like the dad over on the football team, or the you know what I mean? And Marty Cove is such a nice guy in real life. Like, he is super nice. But in this movie, he is a jerk. Like, he is exactly like the picture of the person you want to put up at the baseball field, to say, don't be like this parent, like, and of course he's the owner of the thing, but I think we all kind of knew someone like him, or know someone like his character right now. But I think people that haven't even seen the movie, if you kind of show them some of the scenes that he was in, they understand it. It's that pop culture reference of the same as like the wax on, wax off. You didn't have to see Karate Kid to know that that's from Karate Kid. But I think Marty Cove is also, one of those recognized characters. Not a lot of people know his name in real life, but with just showing the face, like who he is, what that meant. Yeah, and what that meant to our childhood.
Yeah. Well, which is why Cobra Kai, the series, has been so successful, because you're bringing back these two characters in John Lawrence and then Marty Cove's character as leader of Cobra Kai, and he does not get better with age. Like, I mean, the actor does. I'm not saying the acting is phenomenal. I want to be clear, mainly because
he can kick your butt.
Well, and I think he's coming to FanX, or did he postpone?
I don't think Marty's coming, but I think Lawrence is coming.
Okay.
Yeah. But he the acting is really good, but the character itself, like, he is still a rotten person in Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And honestly, I love Karate Kid, and so I was like, oh, I'll watch Cobra Kai. I'm not a big fan of the Cobra Kai series.
I'm not either.
I haven't watched any of it.
None of the characters are appealing at all in Cobra Kai. I mean,
it's so cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for 80s cheese, but it's just, It doesn't work for me. I know lots of people love it, but
and I think that's great. And if Cobra Kai is your cup of tea, we are not trying to yuck your yum. Like, go for it. We love it. We love that you love it, but it's just not for me. And I think the biggest reason why is all of the characters. I'm like, there's not really a likable character. You don't like Daniel as much in Cobra Kai because he's grown up to be kind of entitled a little bit and a little egotistical. Yeah, it's really weird. And then you don't like Johnny Lawrence because he's just like, every time you think he's going to kind of turn a corner, he just doesn't.
Goes right back. Mm-hmm.
And I struggle with that. And I get that that's in real life. Like, I know that there are people out there that that you're like, man, you're so close and you get it. You know, you need to change. You know, you need to do better. And then they don't. But sometimes when I watch a show, I don't want it to be real life. I want I want my characters to make that step and that progression to realize, okay, I can do better and I need to do better. And he just doesn't seem to ever get over that hump. But yes, I think Marty Cove is one of the great villains of my childhood, for sure.
Yeah. So good.
And they made Cobra Kai so cool looking compared to every other karate dojo at the tournament because they were in the black gis with no sleeves. And like every kid was like, those guys are bad A. Like, that's who I want to be. I don't want to wear the white pajamas. No, I want the...
Yeah, you're conflicted because you want to be like the Karate Kid, but you also want to be on the cool team. So in your mind, you're like, how do I get to do both? Because Cobra Kai is like the jam, and but you want to be the good kid winner, like, that was just
And Cobra Kai, they've got a big cobra on the back of their gis, and they look really cool.
Logo. That logo still holds up.
And then Miyagi-Do is like a bonsai tree in front of a setting sun. Like, I mean, it's cool.
It's nice.
Like, now I appreciate the bonsai tree in front of the sun. Like, I think that's really great.
I'm just going to throw this out because, and don't hate me.
Okay.
But they're like high school, like football teams, like high school mascots. Like, you've got the Beat Diggers.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Jaguars or the Falcons. Nobody wants to be a beat digger.
Yeah, it's true.
Because why? Right? Like, it's the bonsai tree is pretty, but is that bonsai tree gonna beat the cobra? Like, as kids, like, we're just like, we want to be the cool thing.
Yeah, for
I like the bonsai tree, but it's just
the bonsai tree will live longer than the snake, but the snake is cooler.
Yeah.
The snake's just way cooler. I agree, and I think you're right. And in Utah, we've got some great ones. We've got the Beat Diggers, we've got the Lancers, we've got the Darts. Like, what are we doing?
So on my show in the morning, every Friday we do mascot matchup where I actually call all of the local high school football games based on their mascots.
I love that.
And I voted for the Beat Diggers and the Darts because they need all the help they can get.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't know if they're good at football or not, but you're a dart.
Yeah.
You're a dart.
Yeah.
Especially when you say it like that. That was
I'm trash. Like, that's pretty much I'm a spork. I'm gonna win.
I mean, you feel bad for them. Don't get me wrong.
Football.
Those of you that go to Davis High School, like, I'm sure it's a great school, and I hope that you love going there.
I've got a friend who graduated from Davis, so
And as the Beach Boys would say, be true to your school, absolutely. But your mascot is kind of lame.
I'm rooting for you.
Val's rooting for you.
Nice Beach Boys reference back to the 80s. Well done.
Thank you.
That was sweet.
Sometimes it's just right there.
Speaking of that, the music
Yes.
Karate Kid, like that, not all of it holds up, but that music that is his as he's training, like, I was like, why is this not on my gym like music list? Because I love it.
Yeah, there's some great music.
Reminiscent at times of the Rocky soundtrack, which we've talked about before.
But I feel like there are just some movies in the 80s that were really good at combining a really nice score with some really great tracks that you could, like, with music and lyrics, and that you could sing to. I mean, as he's riding to school on his bike and it's doing Cruel Summer, which is one of my favorite songs from that time. And then The Best Around is just a classic, and it,
around.
Yeah.
Got my I got my leg warmers on, my headband.
Yeah. But then the score is really great too. Like it is just solid music from start to finish. I agree. This is one of those soundtracks that you need to go revisit.
Sorry, I'm gazing at Elizabeth. She's
Is this distracting? Do I need to turn this off back here?
Please keep this going. This is great.
Keep it on. All right.
Her hair is neat.
I know, right?
Wedding hair ideas.
Ooh.
This is the shower scene. Not that they're in the shower, but he's dressed as a shower.
Yeah. Which was fantastic.
This is the best. That Val wasn't allowed to see when she was younger. It didn't include the shower scene.
It's whatever like NBC cut out. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where has that butt been all my life?
No, I don't want the butt. Nobody told me about it. And then all of a sudden it's right there. And I was traumatized.
I gotta say though, that shower curtain costume, that's pretty original. I
thought it was great.
I mean, like skeletons and stuff like that. But the shower, I'm like, all right, that's creative. I like that.
Especially if you have a little bit of like anxiety or like you need those quiet moments when you're in a crowd. I think it's perfect.
You need to hide from the bullies.
I'm trying to remember because I think we had a VHS recorded off TV version too, and I'm trying to remember how this scene plays out because he's rolling a joint when he pours the water on him in the bathroom.
Yeah, I don't remember the joint part.
Yeah, because he's in there and they're like, "Hey, when are you gonna have another one rolled?" And like it shows him like rolling a joint, and they spray him with water. So I just wonder how that. I can't remember how it played out because I remember the shower scene and I remember him dressed in the shower.
Yeah,
I wonder if he was just going to the bathroom or something, and that's like if that's what I thought. I don't know.
I don't know.
And poor Daniel, because that's a great costume to hide in when the bullies are after you. But once they find you, that's really hard to escape.
Yeah.
That's going to be a detriment.
It's also good for some making out.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is what he does first with Elizabeth's shoe and then hiding behind it as he sprays Johnny here. So
Johnny.
Yeah, I love this movie. It was fun to see how much of it I remembered some of the lines and sweep the leg. I said that, and my wife always comments on how surprised she is at how well I remember lines from movies, and she mentioned that with this one, and I thought it's almost like you weren't a boy who grew up in the 80s at all. Like, did you even? But she wasn't.
I was going to say, yeah.
So.
This movie is very quotable, though. There are some movies that are just extremely quotable. Like we've talked about the Three Amigos. That's one that you can just quote a bunch of stuff from. And this movie's right up there too. Yeah,
I saw a TikTok video about Three Amigos the other day. Yes, I'm going to talk about TikTok again because it's my new obsession. It's fine. But the guy was like, this might be an unpopular opinion, but what's a movie that you like that everybody seems to hate? I'll go first. The Three Amigos. I'm like, wait, what?
What?
Hold on. There are people out there who hate the Three Amigos. They must be.
I don't want to know these people.
Yeah, like I don't
know.
If I know you and you don't like the Three Amigos, you should keep it to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like saying you don't like Spider-Man. Or
yeah. I those I can get. Like I can get people not liking Boba Fett, and I can get people not being into Spider-Man, but I do not understand if you have a sense of humor not liking the Three Amigos.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're not funny.
Yeah, that could very well be. And then like you said, Val, I don't want to know those people.
Or just keep it like, I'm okay that not everybody likes the things that I like. But you don't need to tell me all the time.
Yeah.
Just keep it to yourself. I'm not going to tell you the things about you that I don't like unless you want to know.
No.
If I ever have a mullet again, you guys better bring it up.
Yeah, we'll
Val,
bring it up.
We've gone down this road. Don't cut bangs and don't have a mullet.
Yeah, we will remember that next time that it happens.
I was trying to grow my hair out, so like there wasn't any getting around it, but I could have styled it differently. But that's all I see now with our picture of us and Tom Holland is the fact that I have a mullet.
Well, I'm glad that's all you see because that's definitely.
What else am I missing?
I don't.
With this photo. Now I need to go like dissect it. What else happened that was awful?
they caught it at a really awkward time as far as where my eyes were looking.
Okay. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna go.
I know we've talked about this on the show before. I know
Yeah, but
this
I
was
don't
like a
have
topic.
memory. Remember,
I
I
know.
don't
I
have
know.
memory right now.
Once you see it, though, it will all come flooding back, and you'll be like, "Oh yes."
Oh, that's right. Okay.
What
Anyway,
picture are we gonna get this time?
I don't know. I've been thinking about that because there's not like a Tom Holland coming.
No, not this year.
I mean, the biggest one that I'm the most excited that's going to be there is Christopher Eccleston, and then Jamie Farr and Loretta Swit from MASH.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
neither of those are movie
requested
stars.
I requested to moderate the Andy Lee panel. He was the death. Well, you guys haven't seen it yet. He plays a big part in the Shang-Chi movie, but he also is a stuntman for that movie and for some other movies. And the stunts in that movie are just exceptional. So I would love to be able to moderate that. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I would really like to meet him and talk to him. You guys know how much I love stunts and like all that stuff. So
yeah. The interview we did with Chris Romrell was one of my favorites. That was so much fun.
Yeah, it was really great. Yeah. I mean, Brandon Sanderson is going to be there, and I'll try to get a picture with him, but I mean, he's an author. I don't know that anybody's as excited about that.
Maybe it'll just be an awesome picture of our big round table.
Yeah, that would be fun. Or we have to get some awesome pictures of just us too.
Well,
okay.
That's a given.
Okay.
Okay.
Didn't sound like it. Val's not too excited about it. Okay,
I am. Oh, I was going to ask you, and this maybe could be off air as well, but can we have some like movies that make us masks made?
Ooh, I don't know. I can look. We are going to have some stickers, some movies.
Well, I just want to wear one, like as I want. We don't need like a million, just maybe 3.
Right.
I'll see what I can do.
I'll pay for it.
But for those that want something like swag type stuff, we will have stickers that we'll be able to give.
Val's got some giveaways.
I do. I will have prizes at every panel, especially our Black Widow panel. I'll have some stuff for that for sure. And all the Disney panels. That's all I am doing is Disney and Marvel panels, and a tattoo panel.
You could be.
I will not be giving away tattoos.
I'm so excited for the tattoo panel. I think that one's going to be a blast.
That one's going to be really cool. Yeah, I've got mostly movie panels. No, movie and TV panels.
Yeah.
So
I've got pretty much all movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, next year I'm not going to pitch anything Marvel or Disney because I love it, but I actually know other things.
Yeah.
and I pitched other things that had nothing to do with those, but they didn't pick those. And I asked to be on other things that didn't have to do with those, and I didn't get put on those. So next year I'm just not going to pitch any.
I think for
Oh, sorry, Jake, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Tracy.
I was going to say I get to be on a Dune panel with Kevin J. Anderson, so that's
that's going to be really.
I wanted to be on that panel. I'm so glad you got it.
When we originally talked about it, it was going to be after the movie, so we could actually talk about the movie. But due to COVID, we still don't have it. But it has debuted. It made its debut at the Venice Film Festival, and pretty much everybody said it's incredible.
Yeah.
So here's hoping it still comes out in November.
And I think we've got pretty good representation on a lot of movie panels because I know you're on the Jaws panel. I'm on, aren't you?
No, I didn't make that.
I thought you were.
No, I got Terminator 2, which is great.
Okay.
I'm
Terminator 2 is good.
I would have loved Jaws, but I didn't.
Yeah, maybe I just saw that and thought Tracy has to be on that one.
Yeah, I applied for Jaws and Dune.
Yeah.
And Fast and Furious and Indiana Jones. Didn't get any of those. So
yeah, it's a shame you didn't get FF9.
Yeah.
Oh, Tracy.
That would be a good panel. I would want you on that panel.
You think that the second F stands for furious, but it actually stands for family.
So then it's the FFF.
FFF, Fast and Furious Family 9.
Yeah.
Now
Now, see, like F10, I could get behind that one. That makes sense to me.
Why does F10 make more sense than F9? You're gonna have to break that
down.
down.
Fighter jet, isn't it?
What?
Well, I don't know.
F10 is like a fighter jet. I think it's like an Air Force Top Gun.
But what does that have to do with cars?
What does F9 have to do with cars, Val? From what I understand,
I don't understand how that makes more sense to him.
Welcome to my brain. It's a scary place in here.
It's quite a peek inside that we've just had.
And that's just the surface, my friend.
Yeah.
But and I'm bummed. Paramount's moved back all of their movies for the rest of the year out until 2022.
Yeah. I just think that studios are seeing the returns that they're getting on a lot of these movies right now, and it's just not.
Yeah.
There used to be room for like 3 big blockbusters to go up the same weekend, and there's just not that room anymore. If there's going to be one, they're not going to put another one. They're not going to put something up against Spider-Man. You know, they're not going to put something up against James Bond. Like, there's just no room for more than one big hit at the box office.
Well, and I think Disney and Warner Brothers are the ones that are in a position where they can put those out and get the returns that they're getting.
Mm-hmm.
And Paramount needs bigger returns on Top Gun and other things. So
yeah,
it's sad and it's disappointing, but it's also, where we're at, the economics of it all. So,
well, hey, and good news though, Shang-Chi has made an estimated $71.4 million.
Nice.
Which is good.
That makes me so happy.
So that is like the second highest in the COVID era, behind Black Widow, which made 80.3. So, and Val's right, you still have today to go out there and add to that box office hit. So
yeah,
that'll be good. It made 13 million off of IMAX screens. Val, would you recommend seeing it in IMAX or?
Yeah, I mean, I almost chose IMAX last night to go see it, but it was too late for me. So I actually went in the closed captioned theater.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was a really nice experience, and I loved seeing. It was a half full theater, and that made me. It was a whole nother experience to make me happy that that I saw every different sort of person seeing the movie, because I think a lot of people think that nerdy movies are only for nerds. No, superhero movies are for everyone. And then when you get a superhero movie that is a specific culture, that automatically kind of turns off half the audience, and so I was really upset when I saw a lot of things online about Shang-Chi and why people weren't going to see it because of the culture references. And I just thought that's very small-minded of you to keep yourself from seeing something amazing, but then to be in an audience also full of families and people. I'd never been to a theater with the closed captioning theater before, and it was just a neat experience. So yeah.
Nice.
I need to be better about looking at when those are, because that would have been a great one to go with Johnny. Well, we wouldn't have gone last night, but that's him coughing in the background. Sorry about that.
It was great timing.
But that's his
captioned.
Yeah, that's his preference when he goes to see a movie.
I totally get that. Yeah.
I mean, we are grateful for the accommodations that are available, that he can go and he can get the little box thing that he can watch it on, or the glasses at Regal, but it is so much easier when it's on the screen. And that's definitely his preference.
Well, and there's a lot of there's already a lot of translation on the screen because of the different languages that are in the movie. And so it's a nice kind of easy transition, because it's there for a lot of purposes anyway. And I think a lot of people didn't realize that that's what it was, because I heard some kind of talking when the captioning stayed on through other things. But I also thought it was really neat, because they'd be like, deviant grunting, and it was just interesting to see like what they explain, defiant breaths, like all these, like what they, that was a neat experience for me to see, like how they were describing these things that I just take for granted because I'm hearing them,
That's cool.
It's interesting too when you bring that up, because when you watch it with the captions on, when you watch a lot of movies, sometimes there's Easter eggs that you catch, or like there's a voice that you hear and you're like, that sounds like. One example was I think we saw Force Awakens in an open caption theater, and like at one point there's like all the voices of the Jedi talking. Like, we knew who each person was that was talking, because it
Oh
would
yeah, when
say
he's going to get
Kenobi,
the
it would
lightsaber.
say yeah, and so, and same thing, we saw Rise of Skywalker, and you hear all the voices at the end, and it tells you who each of the people are. So, like, you're like, "Oh, yeah, that's who
Oh,
said this," and so you pick up on some of the Easter eggs, like
that's
that as
cool.
well.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah, that is
although
cool.
I will say my son had no idea for a long, long time that Captain Phasma was a woman, because the caption doesn't, I mean, it just says Phasma,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so he was always picturing that as a man, because you never see her without her helmet on.
Right.
Right.
So,
Right.
Ooh, that's
anyway,
interesting.
but
So we've talked like 5 minutes about Karate Kid today.
I mean, this is a great fun movie, like, you should go watch it. If you haven't seen Karate Kid, it's on Netflix, you have until the end of the month to go see it on Netflix.
I do wanna say that, there are a lot of very well written characters in this movie for it being in the 80s. Because usually in the 80s, you kind of, especially with, like, women, they kind of put them in this very specific kinda category.
Right.
But I think in this movie, they don't do that as much. Like his mom, and, Elizabeth Shue's character, they kinda have their own strengths and their own things, and their life doesn't revolve around men, and, like, it shows him and her in this space that a lot of people are in, and that's the single parent home, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And, I thought um, that was really ballsy for the 80s for this movie,
Yeah.
for this family film, you know?
Well, and I agree, and I love the dynamics between him and his mom too, because I think there's a tendency and a lot of temptation in a story like this, where he's gonna have a lot of anger and, like, just being really upset about being moved across the country, and he was not happy about leaving New Jersey, which is weird, because most people, I think,
Everybody
are.
should.
Yeah, but that
When
was
you don't
more.
know, when you
We
don't know any
just lost
better.
our listeners from New Jersey.
I don't think we lost that many, it'll be fine. But it could have been very easy to, like, make that part of the story that he was really angry, he got into some bad stuff or got into a bad crowd because he was trying to rebel against his mom who moved him across country and things like that, but you don't see that, like, they have a good relationship,
Yeah.
and even though, like, he's not happy about moving, nobody is happy about moving anywhere when they're in high school, especially not to a different state and a new city and all of that. Nobody likes that. Dad, I'm talking to you. Nobody likes that. Nobody is happy when that happens. It's fine. I'm over it, but it's fine. But he still, like, was respectful to her. He still was like they had a good relationship despite that challenge. And I like that, because I think that
Yeah.
that's very realistic. I think that it's so easy to make that part of the story and say, now he's going to fall in with a bad crowd or something like that, and karate's going to save his life or something. But no, instead it was just the struggles that you have as a normal kid.
Yeah.
He just happened to have moved from New Jersey to here, and that's what made him new in school, and people didn't like him because he was new and got his butt kicked the first time anybody saw him at a party. So
Yeah.
And I gotta say, you often hear where an actor is on a movie and they, like, take something from the set home, or they get to take something home. Daniel LaRusso here, Ralph Macchio, may have gotten one of the coolest of all time. He got to keep that car that
yeah,
Mr. Miyagi gives him, and he still
Oh,
got
that's
it to this day.
cool.
He
That is
still owns
so
it.
neat.
Yeah, which I think that's a pretty sweet. That's a pretty cool swag right there from the movie.
one of the moment that he gets that car kind of stood out to me this time, because I thought it was really interesting, because he says, go out and pick any car you want, and he picks the yellow convertible. And Mr. Miyagi knew he was going to pick the yellow convertible because it already had the key in the ignition with the, like, he knew that's what he was going to pick.
That's a good point.
And I just love that because it just goes to show how well Mr. Miyagi knew him even at that point.
I hadn't caught that, but well done, Jake.
So, like, again, it's my one moment per year that I get. So
you've used up like 3 of them on this episode.
I know. Yeah. So I'm done. The next episode,
you've got to
cut off.
If you guys are expecting anything great on the next episode from me,
wrap it up, ladies.
It's too late. Which is probably not true because we're talking about The Princess Bride on the next episode, and I'm sure I'll have plenty to say. So,
real quick before we get out of this episode, though, I want to thank That Old Mouse Magic, the podcast, had me on this weekend, and it's coming out on Thursday. And we talked about Run Disney, so it's a fun podcast. I listened to several episodes, and it's all just Disney stuff, and it's really well produced. So anyway, check that out. That Old Mouse Magic.
Nice.
Very cool. All right. Well, we need to give this one a grade. The Karate Kid. What do we grade it?
I don't want to go first.
All right, Tracy, you get to go first.
But Jake, you never go first.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I don't want to. You do it.
Here's the thing. When I rate these movies, especially the older ones, it's hard to separate the nostalgia, and I usually don't. Totally. And so for me, this is a B+. I think the movie is still a solid movie, and I think it holds up in a lot of ways today. And I think that it's something that kids should watch today, and I'd have no problem with my kids watching it. But I mean, it's not a perfect movie. I don't know that it's ever going to be. I mean, it's a cult classic. It's not ever going to be one of those like classic cinema type movies, but it's a cult classic, and I think everybody should watch it.
Criterion Collection isn't picking this one up.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe they have. I don't know. We'll have to ask our good friend Alan Cerny, who like owns all the Criterion Blu-rays out there. So, but this is a really fun movie. It's a really good movie, and it's hard for me to separate out how much it meant to me growing up. So I think a B+ is where this goes for me. Just below Sidekick, starring Chuck Norris, and just kidding. Just kidding. This is way better.
What about Three Ninjas?
This is better than Three Ninjas for sure. This is the top tier number 1 kid learning karate movie out there.
I would agree with that one.
If you get really specific, any movie can be number 1 in a category. Just make that category really, really specific.
And we've talked about this before, Jake. I'm with you. It's hard sometimes to remove the nostalgia glasses. So typically, I'd like, movie wise, I'd give this like a B+. But then you add in a young Elizabeth Shue, which is an A. You know, she's an A. So I'm going to go A- on this one. I'm going to. Wow. Elizabeth Shue is going to bump this up just a little bit more. This is one I watched all the time when I was a kid. Still enjoy it. It was fun going back and checking it back out. And it's got some really nice character moments, like Val said, with the mom, with Mr. Miyagi being the father figure. It's got some believable bad guys. It's got that high school teenage angst that we all experienced. And yeah, I'm going to go A- on this one.
I agree with all the things that both of you said, so I'm not going to re-say all of that. It's a B+ for me as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's a great way to kick off our September to remember. Make sure that you check us out in all the places on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are at Movies Make Us on Twitter. It's just different. We don't have that in there. But everywhere else we are Movies That Make Us. Make sure you catch us at FanX. We'd love to see you. And you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Movies That Make Us. So we are everywhere. Please come find us. And thanks so much for joining us today. Thank you, those that participated and added their comments. We always appreciate that. And until next,
those that were willing to discuss their sexual awakenings.
You know, I don't think it takes a whole lot of prodding to get Stephanie to go there.
I guess I don't know Stephanie very well.
She's just very open. Like, I don't mean to make it sound like she's like overly dirty or anything. She's just open about stuff. That's all. So anyway, until next time, we won't see you at the movies.
You're the best around.
I was waiting for it.
Nothing can ever get you down.
This has been a Stolen Droids Media production.